Hey there, and welcome to GamePoints, our weekly little get-together. We talk about the past week in gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight on GamePoints episode 94, we are going to talk about Open4, the modding tool for GTA possibly being back, Twitch and Blizzard joining forces for a stream partnership. Of course, the Super Nintendo Classic is on everyone's minds, being announced recently today. But before we get into all of that, there is one thing I wanted to address just out the gate, because it's been kind of pissing me off. David.
Who the fuck is Alex Maurer?
Absolutely. Thank you for just getting right into it. So, a bit of backstory. This is going to take a while, so just bear with me. Alex Maurer is a freelance chiptune artist. She makes a bunch of music for independent games. I don't have her resume, unfortunately, off the top of my head, so I couldn't list them for you. But the only important one you need to know about is that she was working on Starr Mazer DSP. Now, David, you and I are both Starr Mazer fans. We've been looking forward to the release of the game proper. The DSP spinoff is a very entertaining side-scroller. What do you know about this controversy?
Quite a lot, and it's a little ridiculous. So from what I understand, she made music for the game. She's made music for several games. And from what I understand of the story is there's some issue with the creators of Starr Mazer actually releasing her from her contract and then still releasing the game. And I think there's a money issue or they didn't pay her or something. That's the part that's hazy because I feel like she was still paid partially. I don't know. I don't know the full details on exactly what made her so angry, but she's angry. I know that.
Yeah, she is so angry, in fact, that whatever has happened between Imagoes Software and Alex Maurer, I don't know.
Which we don't know the finite
details.
There
is a contractual dispute.
Specifically.
Yeah, we can't say who's right and the wrong on that subject because I'm not a legal guy. I don't know what things say. What I do know is that they had a falling out, and she has since taken to YouTube and has started filing copyright strikes against anyone. Any channel at all, any video that includes music from Starr Mazer DSP on it. Here's the kicker. Copyright strikes are not copyright claims. This show gets claimed all the time by Nintendo, by EA for footage that we use. A strike, however, is far more serious. A strike, if you get 3 of them, your channel is gone with no recourse almost in every situation. And she's sending out 2 strikes minimum to a lot of people out there who have nothing to do with this controversy. Why is she doing this? Because she's pissed off at Imagoes Softworks. Those are the guys who make Starr Mazer. The problem is, she doesn't own the music. She's filing bogus DMCA claims saying she owns the music to this when she doesn't.
Yeah,
so,
actually, in the original contract, it states that all creations that basically the contractor, however they word it, but the contractor's music is property of Imagoes Software. And that means everything she made while under contract is theirs. It's just done. She left the team at some point, and then they paid her for the work she had done, but then she's claiming that she didn't get paid enough, or she had outstanding pay that was like a leftover balance. I was looking at
that part I don't know much about, which is why we're not going to get into the conflict between her and Imagoes.
We don't know the finite details, but the big thing is that basically she was contracted to make music for a game, which she did, and in the fine print of that contract, it said the music that she created for said game was the property of the game's creator. Now that she's mad at the game's creator, she has gone to make several of these strikes against just YouTubers in general, not against Imagoes specifically. No, just against people on YouTube that has uploaded videos of Starr Mazer. Anything that has anything to do with Starr Mazer, she's making these strikes against. And YouTube is pulling videos because apparently you don't need to prove shit to get stuff pulled off YouTube. No.
So there are 2 things fucked up with this. I want to go out and talk about Alex Maurer here. When asked, hey, why did you strike my video? Why did you strike my claim? You don't actually own this. Imagoes Software does. She doesn't then remove the claim. She tells the creator, hey, go after Imagoes Software. I'm not taking my claim off unless you start attacking them. She is blackmailing these people because, once again, I need to stress, YouTube copyright strikes are nothing to fuck with. They ruin lives. Channels can just disappear in a cloud of smoke if you get strikes on them, which is why they're such a fucking violent weapon to use against people who have nothing to do with the dispute between you and Imagoes software. The second thing we need to pay attention to here is how fucked up YouTube's automated system of copyright claims and strikes actually is.
We've talked about it when it was first unveiled, and the fact that everybody started getting games where game footage pulled off, and like the fight against Let's Plays and all that shit that happened. And this is kind of something that we haven't talked about in a long time, the way that whole DMCA shit works on YouTube, because it hasn't been a big deal because no one's really gone around and fucked with it this hard, at least not in a while. A lot of the big game companies that did it realized that they were getting blackballed by people that like their games and buy their software, so they stopped doing it to various YouTubers. But
additionally, go ahead.
This is kind of a reverse effect, because now you have someone who is not a YouTuber and not a game developer going after a game developer through their fans.
Yeah,
in an attempt to take down everything related to their game and then turn those people against the game creator. It's like the weirdest, most elaborate, petty shit I've ever heard of in my life.
So a lot of these channels have actually just pulled their footage because they don't have the money to go through a lawsuit over this. The thing with this particular case, with Alex Mazer's case, is whereas most of these frivolous strikes come from either massive companies like EA or Activision when they do it, or they come from overseas, and lawsuits to fight overseas are extremely costly. She lives in America. This shit could get settled very cheap, and it needs to happen. Alex Mazer needs to be punished to the fullest extent of the law for this shit, because the DMCA, to file a bogus DMCA charge, is fucking perjury under US law. And she needs to be made an example, not only to keep the lower pissant asset flippers and anyone else who just doesn't like criticism, so I'm going to strike your channel for criticism, at bay, but it needs to hopefully, and I'm not a legal scholar, but hopefully this case would set precedent to use against the bigger people like EA, Nintendo, Sony when this shit happens, so that way smaller channels don't have to spend years and years and years in court. They have something they can kind of fall back on to give them more ammo to hopefully be able to settle. Either way, Alex Mazer has done a fucked up thing and is threatening YouTubers' livelihoods. Once again, a strike is not a claim. A strike can permanently fuck up your channel, if not completely shut it down. And she is literally taking food off the table of people who are trying to do a living for this.
And we need to talk about the fact that this isn't one or two videos that she's pulled down. So far, she's actually taken down 42 videos and has gone after an additional 30 as of this broadcast. So that's 72 or 74 videos with 62 YouTubers directly affected by this.
Yeah, fuck off. And that brings up to the second point. YouTube needs to take responsibility for this bullshit. If we go after G2A for shady shit that's happening on their website, we need to do the same with YouTube. YouTube's automatic claim system is fucking broken. It has been for years. It's starting to reach the point of just the bullshit meter has hit capacity as far as it goes. They need some kind of human interaction on their end to curate this shit. And don't tell me, oh, it costs too much. You're fucking YouTube. You're owned by Google. You have the money to do this.
So I think the shitty thing for me is that it's entirely possible that she's wholly in the right and that she was completely screwed over by Imagoes.
Absolutely.
They are using her work and they didn't pay her for it and all this other shit. But the problem is this is just not the right way to do it. She needs to be going after the actual company that owes her money, not trying to make an example of YouTube. It's just, it's baffling. I don't really understand the thought process on how this is supposed to end positively for Alex.
Yeah, let me drive this point home, just to be 100% clear. We do not know if she is in the right or the wrong when it comes to her versus Imagoes Softworks. That needs to be its own separate trial and has to be listened to by a jury or a judge and be adjudicated and all that good stuff. This has nothing to do with that. This is about Alex Murr attacking YouTube content creators and the fucked up, let's call it what it is, blackmail she is doing to hold these channels hostage in an attempt to get them to say bad shit about Imagoes software. That is what this is about, and it's horribly fucked up. Before we wrap things up here, I do want to mention real quick this Starr Mazer DSP video they have going up on here. I did pull this courtesy from Mr. Fox on YouTube. He was one of the few channels that actually still has Starr Mazer DSP footage up. Thank you, Mr. Fox. You will be given a link down in the credits below on the YouTube video for being able to use this footage.
My last thought is, while this is shitty, and while she's done a dumb thing, I once again have to be mad at the rest of the internet for completely overreacting, and just stop fucking sending people death threats and telling them to kill themselves when they do something that you mildly disagree with.
That's an absolutely good point.
What
Listen.
the fuck is wrong with you people? Seriously. Okay, someone did something stupid that's kind of outside the law, pissed off some people. That's fine. Be mad all you want. Stop fucking telling people to kill themselves on the internet. What the hell?
Yeah, that is something I absolutely want to stress.
Why are you people so cavalier about that shit?
I'm super pissed off at Alex Murr. That doesn't mean fucking dox her. That doesn't mean put her address out there. That doesn't mean contact her family, try to get her fired, and send her all kinds of horrible shit. Be pissed off at her, but don't go that extra mile to try to just fuck with her life. That's what she's doing to us. That's what she's doing to everyone else. Don't gaze into the abyss and become the monster you're trying to fight. So don't harass the poor girl. Anyway, she's burned all of her social media accounts, from what I can understand, and there is some rumors going around that she actually might have some emotional stuff going on right now. So don't pile on that. Don't go contact her directly or anything like that. Let YouTube handle this. If you want to have something happen, contact YouTube and tell them that shit like this should not even have been allowed to happen to begin with, because ultimately it's their platform that is letting this abuse go on. And much like I said earlier, we hold G2A to the standards of you can't just fucking turn a blind eye to the rampant fraud going on your platform. We have to look at YouTube and go, listen, people are fucking abusing your system. You need to fix it because you're the only one that can stop it right now.
All right, that was a dramatic intro topic for what's not normally a major topic on our show. I guess that sort of is. So
yeah, we rarely get into YouTube drama here, but that's important.
But let's actually move on to things that we're supposed to talk about. As it is, we are actually a video game podcast, not a angry at random YouTubers podcast. So let's talk about some cool video game shit. The first thing that we have to talk about that was announced earlier today that we both fucking called, and is the exact reason why we don't know shit about the Switch's Virtual Console, and that is the Super Nintendo Classic.
The Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition is real, and it is going to be for $79.99, and it will be available September 29th, 2017. Couple things of note compared to the original NES Classic. One, it's more expensive. It's $80 instead of $60.
Yep.
But that extra cost gets you an extra controller and 5 feet cables instead of 3 feet cables. Thank fucking God.
Woo! That's not too bad. Look at that. I'm paying $5 per cable extension, and then an extra $10 for another controller. That seems fair. Anyway, let's talk about the fact that this game console thing, one, is going to have the same chip in it that the NES Classic does, because for those who don't know, the NES Classic's emulation chip was actually way the fuck too powerful for Nintendo games. So pretty positive they're just using the exact same chip, and they figured this shit out over a year ago. But this does not come with 30 games like the NES Classic did. This comes with 21, but it is a who's who of Super Nintendo games.
It's good. I think when we made our 30 games list on here, every single one of these games is
on our list. It's Super Mario World, Mario Kart, Link to the Past, F-Zero, Super Metroid, Street Fighter 2, Punch-Out, Castlevania 4, Donkey Kong Country, Kirby's Dream Course, Final Fantasy 3, which is confusing because technically it's Final Fantasy 6, but hey, this is an American release, so there you go. We got Mega Man X, Star Fox 2, which was never fucking released on Super Nintendo.
You
so
can
that's
find ROMs
exciting.
for it out there, but yeah, this thing was canceled at 95% done because the Nintendo 64 was on the horizon, and I think Nintendo just felt like releasing a Super Nintendo game at that close to the end of its life made no sense, so they just kind of scrapped
Which is literally why I want the damn thing. There's also the fact it comes with Yoshi's Island, Super Mario RPG, still one of the greatest Mario games of all time, Contra 3, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Earthbound, and Secret of Mana. Thank you very much, Nintendo.
One hell of a
I cannot
list.
wait to buy a Super Nintendo Classic and immediately hawk that motherfucker on eBay for $500.
For the scalpers out there, Nintendo has straight up said this will be a limited run release through the end of the calendar year.
Yep,
so essentially only 3 months.
until December.
But
That's
they
all
also
you get.
said they are making more than the NES Classic, so we'll see how this shakes out. There is, in my opinion, 2, but in the internet's opinion, 1 massive hole in this list.
ActRaiser.
Well, that's what I think, yes. But there's a bigger game, and I love ActRaiser, but there's arguably a bigger game missing from this list that defined the Super Nintendo.
Super Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
No. I'll give you one more guess.
I don't know, man. I'm not paying that much attention. Let's see.
Chrono Trigger is absent from this list.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That said...
Got it. Chrono Trigger is not being released for the Super Nintendo Classic because, as my friend pointed out, they don't want that on there because they are going to re-release Chrono Trigger for Nintendo Switch, and then they're going to have a sequel come out.
Nope.
Wild speculation over.
No, absolutely not. That will never happen. But all that said, that list is a good setup.
I think it's 21.
Yeah,
we had trouble narrowing down to 30. We really did.
I have a theory as to why it's 21 and not 30. I think that they're using the same flash drive that's found in a Nintendo, and it's capped at like 100 megs or whatever size it was, so they could only fit 21 games on there instead of 30, because Nintendo
Bullshit.
games are much smaller.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay.
I think this is just what they want to release.
They just wanted to do 21. It has nothing to do with the memory size of the parts they already had.
No.
Okay, because everything about the NES and the Super Nintendo Classic strike me as, hey, we have all these parts lying around that's doing nothing. What can we do with them?
It's literally the exact same thing with a different shell. I understand that. If you open it up, it's probably completely identical.
It is just a flash drive. It says SanDisk on the side.
Right? That's it. If you open this thing up, there's just a Raspberry Pi in there. With some custom controller ports.
I actually do want to see one of those opened up now. I'd be very curious to see if there's any difference as far as the internal hardware between the Super Nintendo Classic and the Nintendo Classic.
I just wish it had tiny cartridges that I could put in there.
Like the Switch does. Switch has extremely tiny cartridges. They apparently taste really bad too.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We don't need to get into that again.
Right. Well, not to be outdone by Nintendo. And to be fair, this was announced before today. But Nintendo loves to suck the gem out of Sega's donut, and that
Sega
donut
does when Nintendo don't.
Yeah, that gem happens to be SEGA Forever.
Let's just dive in. Sega Forever.
Yeah.
The company is actually
waiting for you, David.
Sorry. Sega is actually going to release a shit ton of emulation for titles for all their past consoles: the Master System, Mega Drive, Game Gear, and eventually Dreamcast and Saturn. 5 games are available at launch: Sonic the Hedgehog, Cosmic Zone, Phantasy Star 2, fuck yes, Kid Chameleon, and Altered Beast.
Not Cosmic Zone, Comics Zone, which was
Did I say
not...
comics?
You did. You said Cosmic.
Whatever. I don't know how to read.
The thing is, Comic Zone looked really fucking cool. Sucked ass to play. And Altered Beast, I think we can all agree, is still one of the worst fucking games of all time.
Yeah, but Phantasy Star 2, dog.
Phantasy Star 2 is amazing, however. Worth owning a Sega alone for that game, in my opinion. That particular series. These games are going to be free. Awesome, right? But supported with ads. If you want to get rid of the ads, you pay like $1.99, I believe, and then you get the game for free.
That's better than most classic games that have been released on Android and iOS.
Absolutely, because those are like between
Square's entire mobile game library. You fucking assholes! I'm not paying $19 goddamn to play Final Fantasy VI on my phone.
Yeah, fuck off. I'm I could buy 4 Final Fantasies for the cost of a Super Nintendo Classic and get all those games. But yeah,
Anyway,
$1.99 to remove ads, free to play otherwise. They're going to be expanding the library as time goes on. The problem is, and something you have to be careful of, is that not every Sega game plays well on a phone. Like, if you ever played any of the classic Sonic games, that shit is trash on the mobile. So,
controller support will be available for these games. So if you have a Bluetooth controller for your phone, you can do that. In addition, the games will be adding online leaderboards, cloud saves, new control schemes for the touchscreen, all that other fun stuff. So I feel like it's just kind of what everybody's been doing, which is re-releasing games. Because if you recall, I recently picked up Crazy Taxi Classic from Sega on my phone, and I've been playing the shit out of it constantly. And that's the same kind of thing. You can get rid of ads for like $2 or $3.
Yeah, and Crazy Taxi makes perfect sense on the phone because it was kind of an arcade game to begin with, and arcade games, almost by their design, are extremely simplistic.
You got go, break, and turn. It's easy as shit.
Yeah, even modern-day arcade games are a joystick and maybe 3 buttons total, 6 if you get into fighting games.
But, hey, good on you. Good on you, Sega.
Yeah. It's something that I want to take a look at a year from now if this is going to be a continuing service, and we'll see how that shakes out. Next story, David.
Let's talk about the fact that we can fully expect more Uncharted games.
In an interview...
Sorry. You're just taking my line.
Sorry, go ahead.
The story via Eurogamer from an interview with Lost Legacy's creative director and writer Sean Iskaig.
I think it's Iskaigi. I'm not positive, though.
I wanted to try it. That's why I took that from you. It's
okay.
Important to me. You can do an interview. I know you love reading interviews.
From Eurogamer.net, the headline, Naughty Dog on Lost Legacy and the future of Uncharted. All we need to go is down to the bottom here where it talks about the future of the Uncharted series. The quote from Eurogamer is that Eurogamer asks Sean Iskaigi, does this mean Uncharted can carry on further without Nathan Drake? Do you consider this the end of its character stories? To which Sean replied, I wouldn't say it's the end. The thieving world is huge. There are so many characters. Even before we settle on this particular story, we're exploring Sullivan, we're exploring Cutter and pairing each other up, thinking we'll be right and what would have conflict, growth, something new and something fresh. Chloe's the one that kept jumping out, but to say the Uncharted world is done, I doubt that highly. That's essentially them saying this is a franchise that is never going to die. They just have so many characters they can pull from. Nathan Drake doesn't always have to be the main character. Remember, spoilers for Uncharted 4, which came out a while ago. His brother exists, and at the end, he teams up and goes off of solely somewhere else. Chloe is still very much a major character, as is her partner, Cutter. Nadine is still floating around. In fact, Nadine and Chloe are in Lost Legacy. There are a lot of people they can bring in and do stuff in this world. In fact, I would say they introduced Drake's brother, Sam, I think his name was, in Uncharted 4, so they could retire Nathan Drake and continue the game still.
Yeah, that's cool. Uncharted does well. Uncharted's a big franchise for Sony, so keep on keeping on, Naughty Dog.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how that game has influenced the new Tomb Raider games, considering that Uncharted 1 was absolutely influenced by Tomb Raider.
It's a funny circle.
It is. Next story, we're going to hop to Engadget here and talk about Valve's Power Glove. This image and story comes credit to Engadget, and it's essentially showing off Valve's Knuckles controller to use with their VR headset.
Exclusively for Sonic and Knuckles VR.
As you can see, it's designed to wrap your entire hand around. Users insert their hand between the main port of the controller and a soft strap that helps hold it in place. And that means you can grab and interact with objects as you normally would without worrying about dropping the controller. The key thing to note from this is this allows every finger that you have to work in VR. Rather than just the open and closed hand, you can point, you can wave your fingers about, you can make hand gestures and sign language. And it's going to add that extra step of virtual reality.
More importantly, you can finally flip people off on the internet.
I mean, I guess I can do that right now, right?
There's no way everyone else isn't thinking it.
This, I think, is an extremely vital step to selling VR to people, because right now VR has an uncanny valley problem. Not so much with the way it looks. It kind of looks blurry and it's not high def. But if
Not
it's
quite
meant
immersive
to,
enough.
if it's meant to fully immerse you in that world, only having an open and closed hand or those jiggle hands floating around everywhere that really don't interact with anything, that needs to be overcome. And this is the first step toward that.
Although I have to admit that that's my favorite part of watching any of the Star Trek Bridge Crew VR experience gameplay is just the fact that you have people sitting in chairs, and anytime someone's not doing anything, you always see this, like just hands just floating around in front of their face because they're holding controllers, because people hold controllers weird and don't think about it.
I do like that in
great.
that game. You can apparently point, though. You can't, like, do more than a basic point, but you can, like, point at tactical to do something or science to do something. I don't know actually much about StarCraft Bridge Crew.
Looks pretty dope.
But apparently you can point at people. David, why don't you go ahead and lead off the next story here for us?
Oh, dude, speaking of pointing at people, now we can point people back to Open 4.
No, just say next story and go. These ham-fisted transitions don't work for us. We're not clever enough. We're not smart enough to do this shit on the fly. Just go, next story, move on.
Open 4 is back. Via PCGamer.com, the GTA modding tool Open 4 released a small update today from build 906 to 907 of version 2.9. Considering the recent announcement that Open 4 was ceasing development and updates in the wake of the takedown notice from Take-Two Interactive, the dicks that own Rockstar, even a minor update is a huge deal. As of right now, Open 4's website has not been changed to reflect the good news. It still displays the original post about the takedown. We expect a statement from Open 4's developers soon. Now, the big thing is, there was recently a story that Rockstar themselves actually went to bat on Open 4's behalf against Take-Two, saying, hey, these guys make mods for our game. We don't really want you to enforce this. So while their statement of, hey, get the fuck out of here is still technically in effect because they haven't pulled it back, as of right now, they're not enforcing it. So Open 4 still kind of exists. Rockstar has said they actually want to work directly with the developer of Open 4, whose name I cannot remember at this time, so they can try and alleviate the cause of the takedown notice in the first place, which was cheating in online play. So they're still totally cool with mods in their single-player game. They just don't want them to be carried over into the online portion of Grand Theft Auto.
I did not see that anywhere, that Rockstar and the Open 4 team were kind of trying to resolve this.
I'm better at reading than you.
Yeah, you clearly are.
That's how this goes down.
Here's the thing about all this, right? There's a bit of rose-colored glasses coming from PC Gamer here, but because, yeah, there was a minor update, but until something comes out and says this is resolved, still assume that they're getting shut down. This could be Open 4 going, hey, we're not going to do anything major, but we are going to keep updating the software so you guys can use it until we're actually forced to take it offline. Because the big fishy part of this here is there has been no official statement from either Open 4, Rockstar, or Take-Two. So I think that this article is them reaching for straws.
Yeah, man, it is what it is. We talked about it the same kind of last week when it happened in the first place, that, yeah, we like mods. We understand that the modding community for Grand Theft Auto is probably one of the big reasons why people still play it. But there's that fact that hacking in that game has been a huge problem for the entirety of its online existence. Yeah. And that's a problem that needs to be resolved. Doing it this way, the way Take-Two was going about it, might not necessarily be the best, because you're just going to have someone immediately replace Open 4 if you shut it down. And there will be less legitimate mods and more illegitimate mods, which...
Absolutely.
You just need a way to work with it.
Right now, they can work with Open 4 and kind of keep the bad shit out, but if they just shut them down, you're going to have 100 different people pop up to take their place with possibly far more nefarious intent.
Yep. I
don't think I've ever been able to use that phrase, nefarious intent.
It's a good congratulations.
Phrase. Next story. Comcept, the company that Kenji Inafune created after leaving Capcom to make Mighty No. 5, has been gobbled up by Level 5. Kenji Inafune's Comcept is now a subsidiary of Level 5 via usgamer.net. The core of Level 5 Comcept subsidiary is made of Comcept staff, but Level 5 President Akihiro Hino will work with the team, the article goes on to say. Their new office will be located in Osaka, and Comcept, as we know it, will be shutting down sometime in the future. Just for people who are listening, know Level 5 are the guys that make Professor Layton, Ni no Kuni, Dark Cloud, Rogue Galaxy, all very good games, and I am actually very happy to see this happen. we have gone on before, David, about how Kenji Inafune has great ideas but piss poor direction. He falls into that Peter Molyneux, Tim Schafer category of developers I love listening to, and I love going, wow, your project sounds really fucking cool. What's the final result going to look like? They all need that whip cracker to kind of keep them in check, and I'm hoping level 5 is a good enough beacon for Kenji Inafune to steer his ship by.
They'll still allow him to do some shenanigans, but they'll keep him more focused, and they'll keep him from increasing his scope too much. I guess we'll say that.
We'll see how it shakes out. No word on what I guess level 5 Comcept is the team, what they're going to be called now. No word on what they're working on next, but hopefully with some guidance from people who control the purse strings, Kenji Inafune can get thrown back on track to making solid games instead of the disaster that was Mighty Number 5.
9 still. Just terrible with names, really. Anyway, let's talk about this next story.
All right.
Let's talk about Twitch and Blizzard. Now, they've kind of had this happy little partnership going that was very unofficial, but, you know, Twitch is a place to watch popular games that people play online, and Blizzard is a company that makes popular games to watch online. So they've actually signed an esports broadcasting deal. So from now on through 2018, Twitch will be the exclusive third-party streaming platform for more than 20 Blizzard tournaments. Blizzard is providing special in-game loot and deals to Twitch Prime members for Overwatch, Hearthstone, and Heroes of the Storm. That's actually rolling out right now if you happen to have a Twitch Prime account, which includes anyone that has an Amazon Prime account, because guess what? Amazon owns fucking Twitch. You can actually get a free golden loot box for Overwatch right now if you just go to their website. I don't remember what the fuck it's called, but if you Google Twitch, Blizzard, Overwatch, golden loot box, I'm sure you will find it. I believe in you.
Conversely, if you also have Prime, you should be able to check that little crown at the top of your Twitch banner that says Prime Loot. I believe it pops up right there. Let me do it right now. In fact, there it is. It says Learn More. So just go check there. It'll take you to the link that you need to go. What do you think about this, David? I personally think that this is a good idea. I'm glad to see Blizzard working so closely with actual streaming sources, considering that 3 years ago, it sounded like streaming was the enemy of the publishers. And then publishers went, oh shit, this is nothing but free advertising for us. Let's actually work with these guys. Also, helping to legitimize esports is very important for the health of the entire industry, and this is yet another step toward that.
More importantly, I think this is Blizzard saying, fuck you, Facebook Live.
Not just Facebook Live, but there was also...
No, but specifically, if you remember the fact that Blizzard not that long ago announced the ability to stream your games on Facebook with a motherfucking button.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
What do you want to bet that
I tried it once.
gets replaced with
that
a
was
more
dumb.
twitchy button?
I don't even think YouTube live game streaming service, I don't know what's off the top of my head, I don't even think that's even coming close to what they were hoping it was going to do. Twitch is the platform to use. They're the streaming version of Steam at this point. It is just what people prefer.
They won.
Yeah. They had the idea first, and they perfected it first. Well, it's not perfected, but...
They're the cassette to YouTube's 8-track.
Yeah.
They're...
That's a good way of saying it. They are the Blu-ray to their HD DVD.
I'm pretty sure per the rule of any media against any other media, that means they're the first ones with porn. I don't know that for sure. I'm pretty sure.
If you want to go by that rule, I actually think the live streaming porn stuff on the video game console side was first done on PlayStation 4's
oh my god, the share button thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot.
Remember how they had those video chat rooms that and they had to really clamp down on that because people were just like, hey, we're going to film couples fucking on a couch. And then there was this horrible story of some dude like molesting the woman that passed out on his couch live in front of 1,000 people. Very horrible story.
Wow, this took a dramatic turn for horribleness. So let's move on.
Next story.
Oh, God.
Hot on the heels of Iowa Interactive becoming their own independent company, the Dark Side of Gaming.com article here says that Denuvo's anti-temper tech has been removed from Hitman. Thank fucking Christ, because Denuvo is a clusterfuck. If you don't know what Denuvo is, it's an extra program thrown in to keep people from hacking the game and put it up on Pirate Bay, and it never really works because it always gets cracked within record time. And there are a bunch of reports that Denuvo actually would fuck with the hardware of people who are playing their games. But Sounds like it's not going to be a problem for Hitman anymore. IO Interactive has rolled out a new patch for Hitman that has removed its Denuvo anti-tamper tech. We don't know whether this removal was done on purpose or by accident. After all, we've seen in the past with other developers rolling out patches for their game without the Denuvo anti-tamper tech, only to re-implement it later via another patch. No official word, like the article says, but as I was touching on, this probably has to do with the fact that IO Interactive is now their own company, and Square Enix regularly gave blowjobs to Denuvo, even going as far as to say, quote, "Thanks to you for the incredible service your team provides. It's great to partner with you. It's thanks to you guys that people have to buy the game," in a totally tone-deaf message they sent to Denuvo not all that long ago. I don't think it's coincidence that IO Interactive is their own company, Hitman's their IP, and they've separated from Square, and the moment they separate from Square, Denuvo gets dropped.
Yeah. I'm still excited that IOI managed to like salvage themselves as a company after parting ways with
I am shocked that happened.
Phoenix.
I thought they were fucked.
And the fact that they managed to keep Hitman. That is huge. So excited for that story.
Yeah.
But speaking of things I'm excited for.
Okay.
Let's move on to the fact that Homeworld Cataclysm is back, albeit with a different name. The once thought lost game, because the original source code was reportedly lost, is back, and it's now called Homeworld Emergence, due to Blizzard owning the Cataclysm trademark. Thanks, WoW. And it can be found on GOG. You could go buy Homeworld Emergence right the fuck now for $9. It's got like a 5-star rating. It's the exact game that was released in the year 2000, besides the fact the subtitle's a little bit different. It's
fucking
really
amazing
cool,
this game
old school
exists.
space game. I didn't think I would ever really get to play it.
Yeah, the source code was reportedly lost. Gearbox mentioned that when they remastered the original Homeworld and Homeworld 2, that they
originally
couldn't
they were
do
going to
Cataclysm.
include this game in that set.
I want to
I
get...
think is the way the story went.
Yeah, I want to get more into the backstory of how this came together on Go Games. I don't have that in front of me, but I want to research some more to find out if there's any good story from here. But yeah, Homeworld Cataclysm, arguably the best of the Homeworld original trilogy, lives. Thank fucking God. I thought it was tragic that it seemed like this game was going to be lost to time, and I'm glad to see it is out in the wild again. Go to Good Old Games and buy your DRM-free copy of anything they sell. Because, you know, David, it's the damnedest thing. If it wasn't for all this anti-theft tech, none of these businesses would exist, right?
Sure.
I mean, like CD Projekt Red, I mean, The Witcher 3 clearly fucking tanked that company because they didn't put
that anti-theft, anti-cheat shit in there.
Good Old Games.
If you don't have DRM, no one's going to buy that game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like the greatest RPG of all time and win all the
fucking God Tom has to survive on handouts from people who feel bad for them and just give them money because the fact that none of their shit has DRMs have just completely tanked that company, right?
God damn, if they had cloud saves, I wouldn't even fucking use Steam. I wouldn't. There's no fucking reason to. They have sales that are just as good, if not better. DRM free. I can download the goddamn games to multiple systems. I don't have to worry about the fact that my computer needs to be online. Fuck. I can just put games on my laptop. I can download the fucking installation client, like file, to my computer.
Yeah, and just take
transfer it to my laptop, and install it on my laptop, and just go out and do whatever the fuck I want. It's my goddamn game. I bought it.
The dirty little secret is, David, either one of us can do that right now, and it will cost us nothing but an extra amount of time. The only thing that's keeping people from doing that en masse is ease of use. Right now, it is just easier to buy a game than it is to pirate a game. That's just the simple, cold truth of it all.
Dude,
but as years go on,
and Netflix seriously reduce the amount of downloading that happens in my house.
Yeah. As years go on, it does get easier and easier to do this. Look no farther than the Amazon Fire Stick and Kodi. If companies keep insisting on putting this invasive, intrusive bullshit in their games, they will actually increase the amount of people who pirate their game because it's easier for them to do that than to deal with things like, say, Uplay.
Well, yeah, we can talk about the fact that there's actually some DRM programs that make the game almost fucking unplayable, that destroy computers, that destroy your system so that the game just doesn't run properly because it's too busy trying to run this fucking anti-cheat, anti-buying it illegally, whatever the fuck
Yeah, some
nonsense.
of this shit are massive memory
And
hogs.
a lot of the times it'll actually end up hurting the people that bought your game far more than it hurts anyone else. Because guess what? As much work as you put into your like fucking DRM, fuck everybody on the internet, our game is ungoddamn stealable, the harder someone works to crack it in less than 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the way it is.
It is a waste of time and resources that is literally only put there to make people feel better, but does nothing to prevent what you hope it prevents. And all it does is infuriate the people who legitimately buy the games to no end. Anyways, David, you have the last news story of the week. Let's go ahead and end things on a more silly note.
Well, let's talk about things that are infuriating.
That's not what I said.
And for Redditor Spray and Play, that infuriating thing was a single fucking tree in Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. This is actually a hilarious story from Kotaku. A few weeks ago, the player Spray and Play made a request that a single tree be taken out of Tripwire's Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, a multiplayer PC shooter released earlier this year, and now the tree is gone. So in the request he actually made, he basically states that, hey, there's this LZ I like to sweep into to pick up my team when we're finishing this mission, and I fly off. However, there's one fucking tree that's right in the middle of my exit zone that I manage to smash into every goddamn time, and it's just, you know, a real fucking... What does he say? The line is so good.
It's a fucking ball ache.
So good. And as funny as it is for someone to send a request like this to a game developer, like, hey, there's one tree in your level that's really pissing me off. I know you probably don't care. But, I mean, if you can just change the model to something else, make it a rock, make it something I'm not going to crash my fucking helicopter into, that would be great.
And they did. The developers, in a patch that went live on June 20th, said the following, as you can see right here. Under their patch notes, they have a section for maps, and it just simply says, removed one specific tree from the landing zone in An Lao Valley per a request from Reddit user Spray and Pray. We agree with you, sir.
And that is fucking hilarious.
That's an amazing patch note. That
So
I just
good.
love the way it's written. Removed one specific tree.
I love it. Thanks, guys.
It's a nice lighthearted story to end this week's news on. But as we wait for more news to generate this week, as we normally do, what can we be able to play between now and next show, David?
Oh, okay. Well, you want to talk about some new video game releases. Well, one that I actually know several people that are very excited for is the fact that the Rise of the Necromancer DLC is actually hitting for Diablo 3 this week.
You're goddamn right. I'm so excited for this.
That's
Necro
true.
was my Diablo 2 go-to class.
It's a purchasable content pack coming to Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition, in addition to full access to the Necromancer class in both campaign and adventure modes. You get a shit ton of digital items, non-combat pet, cosmetic wings, banners, sigils, portraits, pennants, additional character slots, additional stash tabs, challenge rifts, Shrouded More Zone, Temple Firstborn Zone, Realms of Fate are all free content. Basically a whole bunch of shit for Diablo 3 is happening.
Yeah, I'll be playing the fuck out of that tomorrow before my raid.
Cool. Well, if you are less a Diablo fan and more a Danganronpa fan, you can get Danganronpa Another Episode Ultra Despair Girls. This is actually releasing for Microsoft Windows and PS4. It's been out for Vita for a while, and I think it released in Japan in like 2014. It's actually old as shit. This is not a mainline Danganronpa game, or is it a sequel?
I believe it takes place concurrent to the second.
This is like a side story shoot 'em up Danganronpa game. But you can expect your regular amount of Danganronpa nonsense, so if you are interested in the, I guess, lore, aesthetic, just Danganronpa-ness of it all, I would take a look. A game I'm personally excited for coming out this week is Valkyria Revolution. A return to form as a Valkyria game is actually on a goddamn console.
But keep in mind, it does play radically different than the other Valkyria games.
Yeah, now Valkyria Chronicles was a pretty amazing PS3 game. The sequels came out for PSP, I think maybe one for Vita. Now this is a action role-playing game made by Media. the old games had a kind of strategy turn-based RPG style mechanic, except for you actually ran around in the battles. It like shifted to a third person's perspective when you changed which character you were controlling.
Yeah, it used like some kind of action point system almost. You had like an active time gauge that you could use, and once your gauge ran out, you were stuck.
I liked it. I thought that game was awesome.
Yeah, same here.
So this is a revolution, we can say, of the franchise. It's going to play a little bit differently, and while it is part of the Valkyria series, it is not a main game. It's actually considered a spin-off. So if you're looking for Valkyria Chronicles 4, this ain't it.
No, but it is similar.
Okay, we also have Summon Night 6 Lost Borders on PS4 and Vita. This is a tactical role-playing game. It's releasing by Gaijin Works. This is the 6th numbered game, which is funny because it's actually only the second one to be released in English. So the last one we had was Summon Night 5, I think, like 2 years ago. It's a strategic tactical role-playing game with some visual novel thrown in. It's got a whole bunch of mini games.
It falls into that cult game category to where the vast majority of people don't even know its name, but it has that really dedicated group of players.
There are people that are going to love this game, and you probably played Summon Night 5. Also coming out this week, we have Cryptarch, which I think looks awesome for PS4. It's a 2D sci-fi shooter where you take the role of a heavily armed privateer, and you basically are killing Space Hulks. Have you ever played Space Hulk, the tabletop game, or I guess Space Hulk, the video game? You go into alien ships and you kill the motherfucking aliens. It's a 2D roguelike shooter, and it looks fun as fuck. If you're into 2D shoot-'em-up roguelike type games, maybe take a look at Cryptarch for PS4. Also, the thing that I didn't expect at all, apparently Elite Dangerous never released on PS4, even though that game came out a year and a half ago. It only came out on PC and on Xbox One. Now it's on PS4.
Yeah, I mean, it's Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, it's Elite Dangerous.
They got that new alien event going on, the alien like the Marigolds or some shit like that are coming back.
The big thing, though, is if you are a PS4 Pro owner, you actually don't get a whole lot of anything for Elite Dangerous. There's no HDR, there's no 4K, there's no real anything besides a random setting that you can adjust between performance and quality. I'm assuming those do what you think they do. I just don't know why they exist.
Yeah, that's weird.
If I have a
especially on a console
setting, that's what I'm saying. If there's a performance setting, does that mean that the quality setting does not always run at the optimum performance? And if that's the case, why the fuck is there a quality setting?
Yeah, give me more options there, guys. Having a slider between performance and quality does dick
FPS
to
and
me.
one of them 30? Is one of them 30 and the other one 20? Like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Am I turning the HDR on or off? Do I have lighting bloom if I go up or down? This is fucking bullshit. Give me an actual list of options if you're going to put this in a console game. Or better yet, just go play it on PC.
If you're going to try and turn this into a PC game, then at least give us some PC settings. Also coming out this week, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy hits, which is very exciting for PlayStation platform fans. Now, the cool thing here is, from what I understand, the team that put together this game, who was originally made by Naughty Dog, we can talk about that fact, this is actually not just a reskin of the old Crash Bandicoot games, because it didn't really translate well. From what I understand, they actually rebuilt the fucking games from the ground up.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
They're full-on remakes. It's not just remasters of PS1 games. No, they're remakes of the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy.
To be honest, I have not looked into it, so I can't attest to that.
Sounds pretty fucking awesome. If you're the kind of person that likes platformers, or say you're a parent and you have kids and they like platformers, throw them in front of Crash Bandicoot. Guarantee they'll have a good time.
By the way, Crash Bandicoot wasn't as good as you remember.
Well, maybe it is now, bitch.
No,
let's talk about the fact that Legend of Zelda is getting some DLC. And you, from what I understand, get Phantom armor. Phantoms from... God, what were the Zelda games with the Phantoms that this armor's from? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the Ghosts. Those were called Pose. I don't remember a Phantom.
Yeah, there's like... Well, obviously, there's additional missions. There's additional arena quests. There's additional... It's an expansion to an open world game. It's also an expansion to a Zelda game, which I think is the first time anyone's had to talk about the fact that there's a Zelda game with an expansion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Breath of the Wild is an amazing game, and you can literally play that game for like 150 hours and still not see everything. So I have no immediate need to buy this expansion.
That's just the craziest thing to me is Nintendo has released an expansion for a first-party game.
Yeah, that is. They've flirted around this before. For example, Fire Emblem had the downloadable maps and extra content and go out that way. I want to say Mario Kart had a bunch of extra maps you can download. So it's not so much unusual for them. What's unusual is that's a Zelda game that's doing it.
Yeah. And finally coming out this week for PS4 is Micro Machines: The World Series. It's a racing game featuring Micro Machines, you know, those tiny cards made by Codemasters, who is a company that makes pretty decent racing games.
This is a throwback to the old Nintendo Micro Machines game. Remember Micro Machines of a Nintendo? Same team, Codemasters.
PS4, Xbox, and PC.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to look at this. I don't want to buy it, but I want to play it for like 5 minutes.
That's fair. I understand that. And that about does it for new releases. So if you don't like any of these games, you're going to have to wait a whole week for other cool shit to come out. Sorry, guys.
Or just take a deeper look into all the miscellaneous shit that we don't mention because Steam's a trash fire of bad games.
You can just head into whatever the fuck's left of Greenlight and buy all kinds of
You
crazy
can put
shit
on the
if you
high
want to.
waders and wade that shit river that is Steam's marketplace. And PlayStation, your marketplace isn't too far behind it if you don't fucking clean up your act.
Oh, dang.
Anyways, thanks, David, for letting us know what's coming out this week. And with that, I believe we are going to wrap things up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. There's actually one more really important game that's releasing this week that we have to talk about.
Okay.
It's the stupidest fucking thing that's ever happened in that I wanted it. I was ready to buy it. I was going to hand them my money. And then they made it twice as much as they fucking should have. And we goddamn called it a week ago. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered is releasing standalone tomorrow for $40 fucking dollars.
I completely forgot to mention it on this list because that price is so fucking laughable to me.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I don't know anyone that's going to pay $40 for fucking Call of Duty 4. Are you goddamn kidding me, Activision? Eat a dick.
Yeah.
This is David out.
This has been GamePoints episode 94. If you're watching us live, thank you. We do stream live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every Monday here at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can't watch us live, please go to YouTube. Just type in GamePoints one word. We pop right up there. Like, comment, subscribe. Also do the same on Twitch too, please. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at GamePoints PC. You can follow me specifically at CapitalistPig21, or you can follow David O'Dell at Palshife_Satori. This has been GamePoints episode 94. Thank you for watching. We will be back next week, and until then, we're out of here.